we come to the books. Because, the other day I got your book. Then another day I got a book. And now I hear you're writing a book.
Books.
I'm like, Joshi day. Do you get? So let's talk about that.
Okay. My books.
Your book number, you don't know.
7. I just released 7. So I'm working on 8, 9, and 10.
So all that energy and creativity,
talk to us about it. Okay, so I said I was first of all a writer. In my laptop, I have a lot of drafts. I have a lot of archival materials. Last year, I wanted to release a lot of them, but I had a couple of challenges that prevented that. So when this year began, I declared to myself, and I told my friend, I said, this is my literary year. I just wanted to be me as a writer, Ebidenyefa as a writer in 2023. So I had promised a book last year, but I was unable to achieve that. I started working on that book. It's an archival material. And when I was working on it, I stumbled upon another archival material. And then I sent it out for assessment, and everybody said, please, this book is related. Can it go out? We started working on it. It went out as a Biama. And then over the years, I had written a lot of poems. I put them together. That's the other room. Then I went back to the book I promised last year, which is The Diary of a Writer. Diary of a Writer became my 7th book. Then I Am His Bliss is the concluding part of the 14 letters. You have that one, 14 letters, Jude's reply. It's a trilogy. So people read it, and there were lots of suggestions. Can we have this? Can we have this? At the point, it was confusing. I want to end this story. The initial plan wasn't to do a trilogy, but they wanted more. And those 2 books were fresh inspiration, not archival material. So I sat down, said, okay. I analyzed all the thoughts that came in. I said, okay, I'm going to do something for my readers. And then I started working in less than 2 weeks. No, less than 2 weeks. It was just a few days. It was just a few days. I got that one ready. And then I just, the titles in my head, I can't even comprehend them. So it's like when I wake up every morning, there's a title. As I'm dealing with this title, there's a story brewing. Okay, there is the end of an archival story, and another poem is coming to mind. There's always something that is coming to me. And then when I drive, it's a different ballgame. That's where I get to hear the sentences, titles, this story, tweak it, do it this way, let this be the inspiration for this. You can end this story like this. It's like I'm having a conversation with myself. So it's crazy. I want to stop. I want to take a break. Just when I said I was going to take a break, as I speak with you, there's a new title in my head. And I'm telling myself, I have to consciously take a break. I have to consciously take a break because all of these activities are taking its toll on me mentally. It's a mental strain. It's a mental strain. And so I need to take a break, attend to other parts of my life, get a social life. I've not been social in a long while because I needed to get all of these out. And all of these stories, they tackle social issues. Cutting across boards. Even though I am mostly inspired by feminine issues, domestic violence, child sexual abuse, verbal, emotional abuse, fertility issues, surrogacy, egg donation, motherhood, the hardship in the country, suicide, love. People people don't want to talk about love these days. Like they say in our local parlance, who he help. But love indeed makes the world go round. So all of these things, I try to infuse a bit of this, a bit of that here and there in all of my works. And so that's how it works for me.
So these are these things, these ideas or narratives, they pop up from your environment, yeah?
Yes, they do. It could be a first-hand experience, a personal experience that I'll translate into fiction. It could be a third-party experience. It could be a reported experience. It could be just by watching TV, maybe a headline in the news, and that does it for me.
Okay, so let's talk about Spelling Bee. You did Spelling Bee, you hosted it for quite some time. And are we going to have it version this year?
By
God's grace.
Yes, by God's grace.
Because I know, I can imagine that it's not an easy project to carry.
No, it is not. It is not because of the way we package the events. Educational activities are usually classified as boring, uninteresting. For instance, if you attend a book launch, they'll talk about the book reviewer will come and read his review, and sometimes it's boring, it's filled with a lot of high-sounding words. People are easily reread at such events. They come for a spelling competition, just read out the words, let them spell. At the end of the day, biscuit and chin-chin. But we try to make it entertainment, make the environment vibrant, decorate the environment, get quality gigs, introduce music, good music that the children can relate with, introduce pep talks. We've talked about drug abuse, we've talked about having a spiritual life, understanding God, we've talked about self-development, we've talked about bullying. So it's not just coming to spell and winning for your school, it's coming to learn. And doing that costs a whole lot. So we've been broadly with sponsorship. The project is mostly self-funded. My friends, my family, and a few public spirited individuals. Then we've had a major sponsorship. That was in 2021 when Century Group came to RSCOE. They sponsored that edition, and it was fantastic. And after then, the dwindling economy, the realities of grind. And for this year, we're keeping our hearts open that the applications that we have sent into corporate organizations would receive the requisite attention, because the project has grown beyond personal funding. Because every year we see how these children can't prepare for the competition. They even threaten each other. I'm coming to win your school. I'm coming to get the trophy for you. I'm participating in this competition because of you. I'm doing this. Some parents say, I want my child to participate.
It's friendly competition.
Yes, it's friendly. And then when they come, they arrive, say 10 a.m. They start spelling from 11 in rounds. They spell until 4-5 p.m. That's when a winner emerges. You can't keep children for that long. As much refresh them adequately. And every year the number increases. So it's now a blowout event. And that kind of event, we need people to help us hold hands to make it a reality. So we have applied and we're hopeful. If we're not successful this year, we may stay action on it for just a little while. Gather funds as we used to do. Gather funds and then continue again. But we're not giving up on it. We're not giving up.
We don't think we should, because that's a whole lot of giving to society.
Yes.
A whole lot. It's a whole lot. That's a whole lot of giving to society. Perhaps you'd rev up your advertisement or publicity for it, or we have a lot of, the event holds in Bayelsa, but we have a lot of Bayelsans in River State here. So why don't you come fishing here to see?
We'll try that. We'll try that. We'll give you the time. We'll do everything within our capacity to ensure that it doesn't die.
No, it's not that you. So, Funky Doctor, you are a member of so many associations. Did you have to be member of all of these organizations?
For Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, it is compulsory.
So there is such a thing.
Yes, there is.
And we have teachers.
Yes, it's not a criteria for promotion in the civil service. If you do not have it, you can't go beyond a certain bar. So you need to attain it. You need to sit for the exam. You register for it. You pay to become a member. And then you also sit for an examination that certifies you as a member of that body. So it's a professional body. You're given a license. Aside, yes, if you do not have a B.Ed in any of the areas, you have to go get a B.Ed to be a member of that association. So it is compulsory for teachers. And then for the other bodies, the Linguistic Association of Nigeria, Pragmatics Association of Nigeria, those are academic bodies. I intend to move to the tertiary field. So in preparation for that, I need to belong to all of these bodies so I can churn out my academic papers, because aside doing creative writing, fiction, creative non-fiction prose, and poetry, I also do academic writing. Yes, I have quite a number of papers on ResearchGate, I have on academia, and I have a PhD scholar. So I do academic writing, and it's a criteria to belong to those associations. Then for the one Association of Nigerian Authors, being a Nigerian author is just natural that you belong to that association. And any other, there are lots of them. I'm also a Rotarian.
I was going to ask.
I'm also a Rotarian. I was the chair of Girl Child Empowerment in the Imagine Rotary year. So I'm still looking forward to joining more.
Okay, so what's the need for all of these associations?
The need for all of these credibility. I cannot say that I'm a teacher, a professional teacher with a PhD in English and Communication Arts, and I do not belong to the professional body or holding my profession. Then I intend to move into tertiary education. I can't survive in that environment without belonging to these associations. It's a criteria. So it gives my work the credibility as a well-rounded educator.
What I ask is because our people, you hardly find the Niger Delta or cotton across the 4 states, except for Edo and maybe some Delta. We hardly find us in professional bodies, as members of humanitarian associations. All these associations, they contribute to our self-development. They all have a thing to teach us. But often at times, take Rotary for instance. In Rotary, in River State here, we do not have, let's say, 80% membership of the Niger Delta people or the Rivers man. That's hardly the know of it. So, what words do you have for people concerning membership of all these bodies? Some call them sororities. Why is it necessary? Why is it important?
Self-development is a debt that we owe ourselves. You either join or you become mundane. It depends on what you want.
Yeah.
We have people in the civil service who do not belong to these associations, and they are stagnant. They're going to be there. You're going to be a level 10 or level 12 civil servant for the rest of your life. What satisfaction does it give to you? I tell people, I tell my students, I tell my mentees, I said the greatest gift you owe yourself is self-actualization. Yes, in our society, we have people who graduate with distinction, first class, second class, but when you see them, it doesn't reflect on them. But they have that satisfaction. When they say present your first class degrees, they would appear with their first class degrees. And when the name is called, it is their name. Self-gratification, self-actualization. It depends on how much you want to satisfy yourself, how much love you have for yourself. If you love yourself, if you have a focus, you have a dream, you have a desire. And all of these things are enabling steps, enabling blocks. They help you get to your destination. It's just like what Shori and Olakule Shori, I think it's Shori, I can't remember the name, but it's Olakule, either Olakule Shori or something. She said something when he came for a business meeting in Yanakoa. He said, education is not what will make you. Education will help you to be made. So these things have a way of making you become that personality that you desire. And there are sometimes we take opportunities for granted. Because we feel that we are from the Niger Delta, they spoil money, the money they go around. As we go around, we are beginning to realize that it's not going around and it will not go around. So those of us who have realized it, you can see that we are pushing ourselves beyond that narrative. But if you still have that narrative behind, I'm from the Niger Delta, I'm not supposed to suffer, you want to continue to agitate every day, you want to show yourself as able-bodied, strong and agile. Times are changing. There are opportunities that will come your way that will require these certifications and qualifications. You cannot struggle, fight for something to get to your region. And then they say, please present names of people who have XYZ. You, the chief agitator, your name is not on that list. Why? Because you failed to do the necessary. You did not pay attention to detail. So we deny ourselves such opportunities when we fail to embrace self-development.
What brings me to something I noticed recently. Recently I noticed that, though I thought I realized it sometime, but after a while, myself, I had some time of sabbatical outside of the commercial space. And when I came back, I realized that in the oil sector, oil and gas, in actuality, you have very few Niger Delta people operating in that space. It's called Niger Delta, cross rivers, Bayelsa, and Ibadan. You had, like today, for instance, if you bring 10 people, and you say, what is the level of your certification, to operate in the oil and gas space? You find that it's just one person, that it brings back to what you were saying, that you agitate, and the provision is given, or you're granted your request, but then you find that you're not even qualified to partake of what you've been agitating for. You seem to be satisfied with sitting at the gate and collecting the crumbs, that come from the people who are sort of partaking. I don't know if you get me.
Yes, I do.
I know what else you can share. Because like if you go to the oil and gas, even if you go to Nigerian content, what's is
NCGN, Nigerian content,
where
content development and monitoring
is the head and head of that. You find that when you go to that space, you do not see the Ijoman. Let me bring it to Ijoman.
Okay.
Yeah. You do not see the Ijoman's presence. You don't feel his vivid presence. His presence is not there. Then you wonder, the agitation, what is it about? If you go to Total Nigeria or Total Energy today, it's the same thing. If you go to Ajit, Nigeria, it's the same thing. If you go to NNPC, it's the same thing. So what was you have for the Niger Delta person, be it male or female?
We have to go look for that information. What is the information advantage that those people have over us? I mean, the people who are being employed in these companies, are there certifications, are there courses? I think in our space, the Niger Delta space, we seem to be satisfied with the civil service. We seem to be satisfied with the basics, daily bread, salary at the end of the month, which is not a bad thing. But there is something those people have over us. They have the information. So our people who are privileged to have that information should begin to send that information out.
No. Or don't you think that our people are not engaging enough? Nobody brings bread to you. You go and set your bread, just like you today now. You are a member of all of these associations. In every field where you play, you are a member of the association.
Yes.
In every field where you are a member of an association. And I believe that within the association, information comes. Within
the association, information comes. I quite agree with you on that. But what I'm saying is, let me take your mind back to when Pastor Ebidenyefa was he was invited to address IYC. I remember that event vividly. He was mentioning categorically the qualifications that will take you into those areas of specialization. He mentioned a few, and there are people there who know this thing and how to get them. Some of these qualifications and certifications do not come cheap, and a lot of these young people are incapacitated in one way or the other. So instead of buying jam forms, keke, whatever, skills acquisition, why not get these youth, the ones who are interested in having these certifications and qualifications, get people in those environments to come and speak to them. If you want to join us here, if you're interested in working in the oil and gas, this XYZ is what you're supposed to do. I believe that if the people have the information and they know how important it is and they have the funding for it, the ones who are interested, they will go for it. So that's why I said the people who have the information, we have people in these companies. They shouldn't hold the information. There's a pidgin proverb that says, if not only you be the poor man for the family, the rich man for the family, then you be poor man, because everybody will latch onto you. You will supply everybody. But if you make provisions, you empower these people with your wealth, you all can stand gallantly so. So the people who have it come and supply information. And then our representatives, our politicians, the people who have the access to projects, there's a name, constituency funding, they should begin to look at such projects too, how to empower those people and create the opportunities for them to be absorbed in these areas, in these bodies. Then as an individual, you owe yourselves with that responsibility to make that inquiry. You make the inquiries, you find out what it entails. If it's finances, you look for sponsorship. And when you are sponsored, focus on it. Focus on it. I think we should go above this sense of entitlement. It will come to me. It will come to me. Even if I misbehave, this person's tenure will end. It will continue it in the second tenure or in the third tenure. But when this other person comes into government, or when my party comes into government, it will not always be about your party. It will not always be about your loyalty to a particular high-profile individual. A time will come when it will be based on what you as a person, what you have to offer. So you take advantage of the opportunities when you get information, you run with it, and you get it.
So what words do you have for the Niger Delta girl? You know, the Niger Delta woman, whatever space she finds herself. You know, because, you know, growing up back in the day, the Niger Delta girl woman, they were all high flyers. You get. Then a season came when it seemed as if she was no longer in existence. But I think from when Goodluck Jonathan became president, we sort of woke up all over again. But are we awake? Are we wide awake? Are we awake? If we are not, can you spoil us?
The Niger Delta girl. First of all, do not allow the environment to describe you or to define you. That's our major challenge. I'm from the Niger Delta. A lot is not coming to me. I'm disadvantaged by virtue of my region, the region I found myself. No, you can start local and go global. So in whichever space you find yourself, find your identity first of all. Know who you are. I'm in Niger Delta, yes. By birth, yes. Naturalization, I am. What else can I be? If this is what I want to be, how do I become that thing? Find out how it will work for you. And when you have found it, you run with it. Create the time, look for the enabling tools. If it's education, you get it. If it is business, you get it. If it is in the corporate environment, you get it. Wherever you find yourself, find out what works in that environment and pursue excellence. And it will work for you.
Right. Okay, so our last question is, what do you know for sure?
What do I know for sure?
Do you know for sure?
What do I know for sure? I know that I'm going to die someday. That's a certainty.
Which we are not looking forward to do.
Yes, that's the only. What do I know for sure? I know I'm going to die someday. I know that in the not too distant future, I will transition into the tertiary space.
Okay.
Please pause. I hope I'm asking this question. I'm answering it right. I just wanted to make sure that it's the right answer, or I want to understand. I want to understand the question.
You can't know if it's the right answer because it's your thoughts.
What do I know for sure?
What do you know for sure? Like, for instance, you have said that you know that one day you're going to die.
That's a certainty.
And then, but what will you be remembered for? I think such a statement is available. What would I like to be remembered for?
Okay. Can we go back?
Like this.
Okay. One thing I know for sure is death. I'm going to die someday. I know that. I don't know when, but I know it will happen. And so when I'm gone, I want to be remembered for my works. A few years ago, I was signing a check for spelling Bayelsa, and I said, if I die today, I want to be remembered as a woman who brought smiles to the faces of children in Bayelsa State. That's what I would like to be remembered for the smiles that I have enabled, for the lives I have impacted, for the books I have written, which will outlive me.
Okay, so it's been nice talking to Dr. Ebidenyefa Tarila-Nikade. Like we had said earlier, she's a young lady whose growth we watch, and it has been on a steady rise. There's not been a dull moment with her. We've spoken with her this morning, and we've heard her resolve to be a far better version of herself. We've heard her resolve to change every environment she finds herself in. I mean, we've heard how her method of teaching in the rural schools, that was a lot of sacrifice. It came down to being, humanitarian service, rather than teaching. And having said it all, she says she knows that she will die one day, and what will she be remembered for? What will we all be remembered for? And how are we redeeming our times? In every space we find ourselves, how are we living the space? There's a difference between how we come into a space and how we leave the space. I believe and I pray that this short broadcast will bring you to a place of deep meditation. I pray that this conversation will inspire you to, take up your bed and make it nicer than it is now. Thank you.